Okay, we're beginning in Shavasana as usual. Feeling held and supported by the earth. Connecting to your breath. Practicing presence. Let's notice in particular the feet. We're going to focus quite a bit today on the feet. So just notice your feet and any sensations through the feet. Sense the exact part of the foot that connects to the floor. So the heels, probably the back of the heel or more the sides of the heels. And notice that the two sides are different. It's likely. Sensing into your toes, the space between your toes, if there is any. And since the feet are the farthest part of you, the farthest away from you, just notice kind of your relationship to your feet. If you feel like foreigners down there, or if they feel kind of dead or asleep. They feel heavy or light, they feel tingly or dense, and on and on. If you can be descriptive, you don't have to have words, but a kind of descriptive awareness, this felt sense of your feet. And then it's likely that your feet are turning out because you're just letting them be where they want to be, which is perfect for Shavasana. But now let's orient the toes to point up toward the ceiling and start pointing and flexing. Doing so with intention, like you're moving through something really thick. So we could just easily go through the motions, but let's really go into the motions and work through the soles of the feet and the toe joints and the toes, finding your fullest range. Your feet might cramp when we do different things today in particular than maybe you've ever done before. Cramping is just kind of like this body confusion, we'll call it. I mean, it could be other things, but often it's a kind of confusion, and that's okay. This is how we learn and improve. So just a couple more times, pointing and flexing. Can pause at the end range briefly. There might be a little more space than you think. And then allow your feet to be heavy and passive again. Orient the feet so the toes point up again rather than out to the sides. And now we're isolating the ankles here. So try not to move your legs, everybody. Try to bring the arches of your feet in toward, kind of like up toward your inner thighs. and then the arches of your feet away from you, and the outer edges of your feet kind of turn them up toward your outer hips. So it's a side bend for the ankles, and the knees and the legs shouldn't be moving at all. A lot of times we start moving other things because we can't find the movement, or the brain just doesn't know how to make it happen yet. So be okay with making the movement smaller, be okay with the confusion. So when the arches of your feet move toward you, you'll feel perhaps the outer ankles stretching or elongating, the inner ankles shortening. And then other side, when you send the outer edges of your feet toward you, the arches away from you, you'll feel a shortening in the outer ankles and a lengthening through the inner ankles. Go a few more times. It's like the soles of the feet are trying to face each other and then face away from each other, turn away from each other. This is a really important movement, in particular, to work to maintain ankle health. So usually when we sprain our ankle, and roll our ankle, it's because we don't have the ability to do this tilt. And then once again, just allow the feet and the ankles to relax. And now drawing circles with the ankles. So we'll find that point and flex and the tilt along the way, drawing circles. Try to keep the legs still, finding the movement just from the ankles. Finding your greatest, safest range here, always avoiding pinchiness or sharp pain. Go in the other direction. Go slow so you can really describe that circle to the best of your ability. Walking on uneven terrain is another great way to keep the ankles in shape. So getting off the pavement so the ankles can be more responsive, adaptable, resilient. And then allowing the feet and the ankles to relax completely. Notice what you notice. Let's plant the feet about hip width apart. Spread the toes. You can keep the toe mounds down and spread and fan the toes. So pinkies away from the midline, big toes in toward the midline. Really stretch, stretch, stretch. And then try to land one toe at a time back to the ground. Feel the big toe mounds on the ground, the baby toe mounds, and the heels. And now let's lift to the heels. So lifting toes and soles up. And really draw the toes back toward the shins. You already did this. It's just a small change. And then lift the heels, rock to the toe mounds and the toes. Try not to let the knees wobble out to the side. Go back and forth a few times. So we're pointing and flexing again. Just one more time. Bringing the feet down completely. Not moving the knees. Same lateral movement. So lift the arches of your feet away from the floor without opening the knees out to the side. And then rock to the arches and try to peel the outer edges of your feet away from the floor without the knees dropping in. A couple more times. If you get crampy, you just have to stop for a moment or maybe kind of shake it out. One more time. And then you can ground the feet completely. And let's do a little pelvic tilt or spinal undulation. Maybe taking arms out to a T or cactus. Exhaling, press the lower spine into the floor. Inhale, rock toward the tailbone. Make that gap between lower back and the floor. Go a couple more times on your own. Drawing the abdominals down, pressing the back into the floor on the exhale. Inhaling, exaggerate your lumbar curve. At the end of this one, whenever that is for you, let's slide the legs out straight. You can bring your arms back down alongside your body. Keep your legs heavy. Baddha Konasana slide. Outer edge of the foot slides along the ground, foot toward the pelvis. Tree pose shape. At the end range, slide the leg out straight. Alternate legs. You can initiate the movement from the foot or the knee. You'll feel a little different. Tracking sensation. About one more time each side. And then next time the legs are straight, just pause. Let's grab our block, everybody, and place it medium or narrow between the inner thighs with the feet planted. So we're in what I call bridge prep. Slide your feet a little away from you so they're not right underneath the knees. They're a little further from you. Find your neutral pelvis. So the pubic bone and those bony hip points in the front of your body are all on the same plane. Feel into each toe, big toe mound, baby toe mound, heel. Squeeze the block. Keep your neutral pelvis and lift into a low bridge. In addition to squeezing the block, squeeze your glutes. Make sure your tailbone isn't tucked up, that it's kind of uncurling away from you. Lift to the heels, soles and toes come up. Rock to the toe mounds and the toes, lifting the heels. Hello, calves. Woo, couple more times. Back and forth. Last round. And then feet completely grounded. Now tuck the tailbone under, go slow, see if you can roll down one vertebra at a time coming out of the bridge. And then we'll keep the block where it is and the pelvis down. And one more time, just rock to the outer edges of your feet and then to the inner edges of your feet. So you really can't move your legs because the block is there. Grounding through the feet evenly. You can take your block aside, set your block aside. And from here, let's bring the knees in toward the chest. You can find a little movement if you like. Lengthening out through lower back. Adjust your hands to hold your thighs rather than your shins. And stretch the legs up to vertical, just vertical. So ankles stack over your hips. And then press your legs into your hands and pull your legs in with your hands. So you can create a little space between your lower back and the floor. Flex your feet, spread your toes. Imagine your feet were on the ceiling and make any adjustments. So for a lot of us, like if we didn't make that adjustment, we might not have like the big toes on the ground, if that makes sense. Try pressing the sacrum down into the ground. From here, bend the knees into happy baby. You could keep hold of your thighs. That might work best for some of you, and others can reach for the feet. Drawing the knees down. Releasing the shoulders down as best you can. As you draw your feet down, if your hands are on your feet, push the feet up. So nothing's moving, but there's resistance between hands and feet. You can do the same if hands are on thighs. Feeling that deep flexion at the hips. Try to keep the legs where they are and just release the hands now and keep drawing the knees in. So now the legs are creating the hip flexion rather than the hands. Release, feet to the ground, knees bent. Bring your left hand to the bottom front of the right rib cage, placing your hand on your body. If the ribs are already flaring up, see if you can bring them down. So you can feel like the bottom of the rib cage kind of protruding up. The hand can just help to feel, not really push. See if you can bring the rib cage down so it's kind of flush with the rest of the body. And then, or with the rest of the torso. And then keep your hand there just for feedback. And bring your right arm up toward the ceiling and overhead alongside your ear, or as far as you can go. It can go out wider, more wide, more diagonal if your shoulder is giving you problems. But we're trying to make sure that the spine and the ribs aren't popping up in order to get the arm down. So the shoulder's doing it on its own. And let's just take a few breaths here into the right upper back. Reaching actively through the arm. Option to straighten the legs without changing anything else. Might be a little bit harder, might not change a thing. Breathing into the upper back, exhaling, confirming the ribs to move down toward the floor and a bit toward the pelvis. Bring your feet back to the ground and your arm alongside your body, both of them. Same little inquiry, second side. Right hand on the front bottom of your rib cage. One side might be a little different than the other. Notice if the ribs are flaring up, if you've got a lot of spinal arch here. Try bringing the ribs down, keeping them down as you bring your left arm up toward the ceiling and alongside the ear to or toward the floor. You can really reach through the arm here, but it's more about getting it down and, if you can, straight elbow. And you might just notice like, oh, once my arm reaches a certain point, that's it for the shoulder. So then the ribs flare. That's valuable to know. So with your breath, breathing into the upper back, especially that left side. Exhaling, ribs down toward the floor and toward the pelvis. Maybe sliding the legs out straight. See if that changes anything for you. Let's leave the legs straight and bring the arms just down alongside the body, Shavasana. Being, not doing. And now interlace your hands underneath your head and allow the head to release into the cradle of the hands. Try to let the elbows and the arms be really heavy here. Side bending. So we'll keep this shape. Slide right elbow down toward right hip. Left elbow will reach more overhead toward the wall behind you. And then back through to center and over to the other side. You could add rotation of your head to look toward the overhead reaching elbow. You could move with your breath. You could pause at the end range and maybe Just kind of scoot a little more into the stretch. And you can also experiment with that rib flare. So if the elbow reaching overhead causes the ribs to pop up toward the ceiling, how does it feel when you don't permit that to happen? Ribs down toward the floor and a bit toward the pelvis. One more element you can add is to slide whatever side that's stretching, same side leg reaching away from you. So heel and elbow stretch in opposite directions. About one more round, take your time. Gradually make your way back to Shavasana, release all together, resting in awareness. Okay, slightly shorter floor sequence today. So bend your knees, roll to your side. Let's come up to sit. Maybe sitting on a cushion or a blanket. We're sitting in a way that we can access the feet, everybody. Access the feet and be relatively upright. You might not end up staying that way. That's okay. Okay, let's grab our left foot and see if we can get a hold of it with both hands. And then use your thumbs in particular to really knead into the arch of your foot. Thumbs exploring really anywhere you'd like, but particularly into the arch or wherever it feels sensitive. Let's look at the foot while we're doing this. So just notice if there's like an aversion to your feet. Maybe that sounds silly, but for some of us, it's like this foreign thing that we never pay attention to. Good. I don't know about you, I could do this for like 20 minutes, but we're gonna move on. So we're gonna take the big toe with one hand and the second toe with the other hand, and we're gonna send them in opposite directions, back and forth. So send your big toe one way and your second toe the other way. Just within their reasonable range. And then we're gonna move on down the line, so grab your second and third toe, send them opposite each other. Third and fourth toe. Fourth and little toe. Okay, so you got your left foot now. It's probably easier to do with your right hand. Bring your fingers between your toes and try to work the fingers down. You can use your other hand to help. Try to work your fingers down all the way to the bases of the toes. If you can't, please start doing this on a more consistent basis. Really need to get the feet awake. And maybe you just stay right here. You can add a little movement, not any big technique here. You can try to like fan the fingers away from each other to create a little bit more space, or you can draw the toes back. Now we'll use the thumbs and index fingers between the long bones on the tops of the feet, or really however you want. I like to place my foot down for this one, but you can do it here as well. So we're just applying pressure between the long bones from like the ankle to the toes, and then you can kind of pinch at the bases of the toes, between the toes really, and then do that one more time with the other two long bones. So we're getting the fingers between the long bones, working down from ankles to toe creases. It's called clearing the foot gates in energy medicine. That might be a more familiar way. And then you can take a big toe, your big toe with one hand and your pinky toe with the other hand, and just pull, like you could pull your toe out of your foot. Do the same thing with the second and fourth toe. And then the third toe, ooh, might get a little crack there. And then last thing here, we're going to bring the thumbs, the sole of the foot at the midline, and just try to curl the outer edges of your foot in toward the midline. Like the big toe mound and the baby toe mound could touch each other. I mean, not really, but that's where you're headed. And then you could just give it a little squeeze. Anything else? And then let that foot go. Let's stretch the legs out in front. You can lean back on your hands or whatever feels comfortable, and just compare the 2 feet. One might feel tinglier, more alive. Okay, and then off to the second foot. So finding a way to access your right foot. We'll start with the thumbs into the arches of the feet, feeling all around the arches of the feet or anywhere that feels good. Using a fair amount of pressure here, especially in those areas that need it. And I will take hold of the big toe with one hand and the second toe with the other hand. Send them in opposite directions. Second toe and third toe moving in opposite directions. Third toe and fourth toe. Fourth and little toe. Using your left hand, weave the fingers between the toes and work them down as far as you comfortably can, or uncomfortably can, really. It might not be super comfortable. This does get easier. Could just be here into the stretch, or find a little movement, fanning the fingers away from each other, flexing the toes. Clearing the foot gates, so using your thumb, or I like to do thumb, you can do whatever works for you. Working down between the long bones on the top of the foot, down from the top of the foot to the crease between the toes, and kind of like pinch off there. Sometimes it's easier to ground the foot to find that. I like to go a few times. And then you can take your big toe with your left hand and your pinky toe with your right hand and just pull. Like you could pull your toe out of your foot, second toe and fourth toe, and then middle toe. And then lastly, bringing your thumbs to the middle of the sole or thereabouts, and curling the outer edges of your foot inward. Like you could fold your foot in half the long way. And finally, just giving your foot a little squeeze, a little last connection, touch with the hands. And then we'll come up to stand. It's nice to stand before doing all that work and then stand after and notice a difference. But hopefully you can feel a little change in your feet here, just establishing your mountain pose. You can do a little rock forward and back, spreading the toes, really like a cat, like pawing at the ground, and almost like you could deepen your connection to the floor. And then come back to center here in mountain. You could have hands on your hips if you want for a little bit better balance. We're lifting the toes off the ground, keeping the toe mounds down. Spreading the toes. Again, fan the toes wide, so pinkies out away from the midline, big toes in toward the midline. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And then try to root through pinky toe, then second toe, middle toe, or second or fourth, and to big toe. Lift the toes one more time, lift and spread. See if you can root the big toe first, then the second toe. They might be like all going as a unit. That's okay. Just do the best you can. Second toe. This way is a lot harder for me. Second toe, third toe, little toe. Coming back. Keeping the toes spread. Rooting particularly through that triangular base of support, everybody. So big toe mound, baby toe mound, and center of the heel, or front center of the heel to be more particular. And now if you have one of those skinnier blocks, you could possibly use a bigger block, just see how it works, or a cushion. We'll have the heel on the ground, but the toe mounds on whatever it is you can grab. I think the big block is a little too much unless you've got really flexible calves. So try to go something a little bit smaller. And once again, connect to big toe mound, baby toe mound, and heel. And then if you want to get a little calf stretch, you can lean forward a little bit, or kind of step forward with the free foot and shift the hips forward. Keep coming back to the breath. Try the other side. Heel on the ground. If you just squashed your pillow that you're using, try to fluff it up again. Heel on the ground, big toe mound, baby toe mound on your support. Connecting to that triangular shape. And then maybe stepping forward with the free foot, shifting your hips forward. Finding a stretch. Release. You can step off of your support and set it aside. And now this one's kind of hard for a lot of folks, so just know that that's the case. We're going to try to have big toe under and other toes forward. So the way I do that is I kind of point my foot toward the floor and I curl the big toe under and stretch the other toes forward. I'm trying to find that shape. If your foot won't do it on its own, you can get down there and use your hand to help put the foot in that situation. Try the same thing with the other foot. The big toe is curled under, the other toes are stretching forward. Don't be afraid to use your hands. If the toes don't want to do it, see if you can help them do it. This is the last kind of weird thing we're doing with the feet. Now we're going to go the other way. So all the toes are under except for the big toe that's reaching forward. Try the other side. All the toes tuck under, big toe doesn't. And then coming back to your mountain pose. Feeling into your feet. Starting to find a little sway side to side. So when you sway to the left, feel the weight transfer into the left leg. When you sway to the right, feel your weight transfer into your right leg. Swaying side to side, really feeling the foot take the weight of the body. Try not to sway so much that the big toe mound lifts away from the floor or the toes. So we're still maintaining that triangular shape of support. Big toe mound, baby toe mound, and heel. The next time you shift over to your right, stay, keeping the weight in that leg and foot. Come up onto your left big toes. We're coming into tree pose. You might want to put hands on the hips, turning the knee out to the side. And then you can just slide your foot so it's still on the ground and meeting the leg, or you can start to slide it further up. Head right on top of the spine. Squeeze your glutes, squeeze your thigh of your standing leg. Try not to abandon ship if there's a little wobble. Try to stay with the wobble a little bit and let the ankle find its equilibrium. Coming back to mountain pose. Let's do that sway again, one more time. So like, you might visualize sand pouring into the hollow tube of one leg and then into the other. And then once you shift over to your left, be there, just pause for a moment, sensing into that triangular base of support. Come up onto right toes. Open the knee out to the side. Slide the foot to meet the leg and maybe up the leg. Squeeze left glute. Stand up tall. Squeeze left thigh. See if you can be okay with the wobble. Let the ankle find or be okay with moving. Coming back to mountain pose. Let's take our feet wider than hip width apart. And bend the knees quite a bit and fold forward. I would stay longer in the spine with the chest moving forward if you have any disc issues or sciatica or spine stuff going on. Otherwise, you can just let the upper body completely drape, head heavy. We have a generous bend in the knees either way. Walk your feet wider apart if desired, and you can let your toes turn out. And we're coming down into a squat. If you're like, nope, not squatting, or have a hard time squatting, you can stack up your blocks and sit into a squat. So you still get the shape without as much of the weight bearing. And it's okay if your heels come up. That's it. So you can stay right here. If you feel like, holy moly, I'm just going to focus on breathing in my squat and it's tough, then that's where your work lies. And if you're pretty comfortable in your squat, we're going to add a little gaze over one shoulder and then over the other shoulder. So you can exaggerate that. So when you look over your left shoulder, your right heel comes up or further up, and when you look over your left shoulder, your right shoulder, your left heel comes up. So whatever shoulder you're looking over, the opposite heel can come up. So we're getting a little bit of a side movement here, and that knee can come forward, side to side. So a lot of times squat difficulty is because of ankle mobility. So you might make that connection if you found that your ankles weren't very mobile earlier. It might not apply. Maybe one more time, side to side, if that's working for you. And then we'll come back to center. Your hands can root down, coming back into our bent knee, wide-legged forward fold. Adjust your feet however you need to. Upper body draping or keeping the spine straighter, depending on what you've got going on. And from here, slowly rising to stand, rolling or flat back, again, depending on your spine health. Bringing your feet under your frame, mountain pose. Okay, with the left hand, just imagine you've got water on your fingertips and you're just gonna flick it off. This doesn't work if you're trying to be muscular and make it happen. Just get that free, easy movement. And then start to, you can imagine your hands like a little butterfly, and the butterfly is exploring all around you. Let the shoulder be as relaxed as possible. Maybe the butterfly goes down. And then hand starts to rise up, keeping the shoulder pretty relaxed. And then hand overhead, keeping the elbow soft, keeping the shoulder soft. And then just pause here, come into stillness with the arm up and let it drop down. Notice compare the two arms, the two sides. Second side, right hand, flicking water off your hand. Starting to explore around you. Anywhere, shoulders relaxed, elbows relaxed, make it easy, make it kind of a free shape, free movement. You can start to bring the arm up, no tension in the shoulder. Higher and higher the hand goes, wherever it's comfortable. And then arm as overhead as works for you without needing to straighten the elbow or lift the shoulder. And then just pause, bring the hand into stillness. You might notice some tingling. And then let the arm drop down. Notice what you notice. We're going to work a little bit more with the shoulders, now a little more intentionally in what we call the shoulder cars. So we'll start with the right hand, and you can either have flat palm or fist. We're not moving the wrist at all. That's going to stay stable. So we'll start with the right arm and keeping your chest forward and just bringing your right arm across the body without the shoulder coming forward. So keep the shoulders in line, and you might not get far. That's okay. Pausing here. Good. We're going to try to keep the elbow straight. You can micro bend it if you feel like it's getting painful. Now we start to bring the arm up. So it's across and up, up, up. Pausing when the arm is up alongside the ear. Make sure you go around any pain points. So I figured out how to make this work for the camera. Okay, so I'm here in mountain pose, bringing the arm maybe a little further back behind you without flaring the ribs. Yeah, we already did this on our backs. If it's helpful, you can place your hand, your free hand on the bottom of the rib cage to help monitor. Bringing the arm back, back, back. Now we start to rotate internally. So the palm will face out, the thumb would point forward. And we start to draw a circle back. Back, back, back as much as you can. Try not to take the whole body back. You can keep rotating internally and let the shoulder roll forward. And the arm ends up alongside the body with the palm facing out and the thumb pointing back. Now we're going to go in the reverse. So we bring the arm up, let the shoulder roll forward. Pause when you feel like you can't go any further. Then start to rotate externally. So palm faces up. We keep making the circle up, up, up. And alongside the body. Arm moving independently of the body. And then releasing the arm. Just take a moment, notice two sides of the body. Okay, second side. So straight hands like karate chop hand or fist. Try not to move the wrist at all through the movement. So we start with the palm up and arm across the body, not the shoulder. Good. And then from here, arm is across and coming up. Once the arm is up alongside the ear, that's when you might want to especially be monitoring the rib cage, that it's not coming forward. See if you can bring the arm a little further back behind you. Then rotate internally. Shoulder rolls forward. When you do that, the arm is still lifting up, going back, up and back, up and back, finding your greatest, safest range until your arm is alongside your body with the palm facing out. Going back the way you came, let the shoulder roll forward as the arm comes up and back. When you reach your end here, just pause. You might be able to get a tiny bit more. Then rotate externally and continue the circle. Nice work, everybody. So eventually the arm comes alongside the ear and across the body, palm up. And then arm releasing down. Good. Okay, hands on the sides of the body. Mountain pose. For a little side bend. So one hand slides down, the other hand slides up. Side to side. One more time, side to side. Arriving back at center, arms just dangling, resting. And now bring the hands to the shoulders or that kind of neck shoulder juncture and just give yourself a little bit of a massage, knead in there. I'm sure there's something that feels tight in there. If not, lucky you. This too, I could probably do for an hour, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna imagine we could like grab some of that tension and throw it down. And then do that again, knead for a little bit, feel your way around. Grab some tension and throw it down. One more time. Grab that tension and throw it down. Good. Okay. So now we've got feet about hip width apart. If it's helpful, you can bring hands to hips for a little standing pelvic tilt. So scooting, like sticking out your booty, exaggerating the arch in your lower spine, and then tucking under, or maybe one hand is on the sacrum, one on the pelvis. So pubic bone draws down as the back of the sacrum rises up, and then tailbone extends down as the pubic bone slides up. Hands can be helping or giving you feedback or not. One more time. And then just allow your pelvis to find neutral, tailbone dropping down, glutes relaxed, breath flowing freely. Okay, feet about hip width apart, so they're stacked. That's best for balance. We'll try to rise up onto the tiptoes, lift the heels. You could pause here. And then rock back onto the heels and see how much of your feet you can lift off the ground. This one feels a little scarier to me personally. Not scary, but you know what I mean. So try not to just lift the toes. See if you can like pop the soles off the ground for a moment. And then go back and forth a few times and see if you can notice like where your body compensates to help you find balance, right? So like if you wear high heels, they're notorious for creating compression in the back because that's how the body compensates to find balance. Nobody's having reverse kind of shoes, but you can see you might be able to balance on your heels more if you bring your head and your torso forward. Just try that one or two more times. Good, and then coming back to equal standing. And now we'll do like a little kick the can. So with your heel, imagine there's a can. Do one leg a few times. Kick the can. And notice what you notice here. Be gentle with your knee. I mean, it could straighten and lock out, but we don't want to get too crazy here. But you might feel like there's like a little lengthening through the lower spine. Maybe hard to balance. Try the other side. How freely does the leg swing? And then coming back to stillness. And then last kind of weird thing, this is all Don Stapleton work here. You're gonna imagine a little puppy has come up behind you and grabbed the cuff of your pant, and you're gonna just shake it off. Try one leg a few times. Shake the puppy off of your leg. Not aggressively, it's just a puppy. So we're just going easy. Little puppy, let go of my pant leg. Get that shake action. Couple more times, not just doing it, embodying it, feeling it. Is it hard to get that shake action, or do you feel the shake all the way up? Try the other side. Puppy switched to the other foot, the other leg. little bit of balance in play here with the leg that's staying grounded. Just a few more times. Good. And then coming back to stillness, noticing sensation. Maybe notice inner narrative. Maybe you're like, this is stupid. I'm not offended. Sometimes it's hard to do things that just feel stupid because ego gets in the way. So just whatever's coming up, see if you can notice it with kind and curious attention. Good. And then we're going to do just a little bit of crescent lunge. So you might want your mat if you haven't been on it. Finding your way to mountain pose at the top of your mat. And once you're in mountain pose, extra attention on your feet. Yeah, spreading the toes, connecting to that triangular base of support. Noticing if the weight is more forward or more back, evening it out. Mindful of the ribs as your arms reach up to Urdhva Hastasana. And then arms can stay up, or this is harder for balance. So you can bring hands to your hips, everybody. We're taking a big step back with the left foot to come right into our crescent lunge. So back knee is up. We want to have the left toes pointing, your back toes pointing straight forward rather than out. And you might be able to scoot your foot back a little more and make your sole a little more vertical, just to keep with that kind of foot focus. And then let's actually bring the hands down to the hips, and let's find, you can let this back knee bend, let's find a little pelvic tilt here. So pubic bone down and then up, or tailbone down and up. Go back and forth. And then find your neutral pelvis. Re-extend through the back heel. Maybe re-extend through your arms. Maybe arms stay up, maybe hands come to the hips. With control, step your back foot forward and then release your arms down. Nice. Reconnect to your feet, to the floor. Ribs stay down as the arms reach up. Maybe hands come to the hips. Big step back, second side. Right foot stepping back. Try to make sure your toes, right toes point forward rather than out to the side for this expression today. And maybe scoot your foot back a little more and get a little bit more toe flexion. So sole of the foot more vertical. Bring your hands down to your hips. Remember that triangular base in the front foot. Let your back knee bend so you can find this pelvic tilt. Anterior and posterior. One side might be less willing than the other. And then find your neutral pelvis. Maybe re-extending through the back heel without losing that. And stretching the arms up. Great work. Arms can stay up or not. Stepping back foot forward with control. Releasing your arms down. Inhale, arms reach up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, generous bend to the knees, folding forward. Take a peek at your feet here. You might encourage your toes to spread a little bit more with your hands if they're kind of clumped up together. And then from here, plant your hands with the same attention you've given to your feet this whole class, right? So really intentionally grounding the hands, and let's walk the feet back to downward facing dog. And let's pedal the feet. Lift one heel, root the other. Press both heels down to the ground. Push the floor away with your hands. Lower your knees to the ground. Maybe walk your toes a little closer to your knees, hips toward your heels, child's pose. Let's add a little side bend here in child's. Take it to the other side. Come back to center. And up to tabletop. Cat, cow. Go slow, work through the spine. Gradually make your way back to neutral spine. And then toes are tucked under here. See if you can shift your hips back to your heels. Maybe walk your hands back and sit onto your heels. Letting your hands rest in your lap. Awareness is right here, right now. Okay, releasing out of this situation, coming to sit with your feet planted out in front of you, about hip width apart. Hands behind you. You can have fingers pointing either way, but be sure your fingers are spread and your knuckles are rooted. And be sure your hands aren't too close together. I like shoulder width, a little wider, shoulders back and down, chest up. You can stay here or press hands and feet down, lifting into reverse table. Feeling into each toe and the triangular base of support. Squeeze the glutes. Ease back down if you came up. And slowly lower onto your back. Feet planted. Left ankle on right thigh in figure 4. Arms out to a T. Pendulum the legs side to side. Shoulders stay down. Next time legs drop over to the right, let's pause there. Left foot on the ground. I know some of you like to do a tighter cross of the legs and come into the twist that way. That's fine. Or keeping the left foot planted and the knee pointing up and even moving the knee away from you. Maybe left arm alongside the ear. Left arm to the T, coming back to the figure 4 at center, left ankle still on right thigh, and now legs drop over to your left. And you can use your left foot ankle juncture, we've done this quite a bit lately, to provide a little rooting and lengthening for the right leg. Maybe right arm alongside the ear. Come back to center, all the way back, so feet are grounded. Other side, right ankle on left thigh. Pendulum the leg side to side. Next time the legs drop to the left, let's pause there. You can close that gap between the thighs if that's the kind of twist you're seeking. Or keep the foot planted, knee relatively vertical, knee moving away from you. Maybe right arm alongside the ear. Bring the right arm back down, legs up and over to your right from that figure 4 shape, so ankle on thigh. Using your right leg to help root and lengthen the left thigh, maybe left arm alongside the ear. gradually come all the way back to center and find your Shavasana. Coming back into the river of breath. becoming aware of your body and where it connects to the earth. And as you feel ready, gently come back up to a seat. Let's take a breath in. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you.